So I'm not sure if I mentioned this before, but for my monthly performance review in January, I received an 86% performance rating, quality performance rating. 86%. Usually, I'm at 100, or very, very close to it. This 86% quality assurance goes along with other metrics to give us our total score. In December, had the highest total score of our group by several percentage points. So in January, I didn't think that I would be able to maintain what I did in December, because months prior to December, the external metrics like drop calls, email time, punch it in. I had headset problems where I go to pick up a call, I wouldn't pick up, or something like that. And I finally got all that worked out. And those metrics were just like, basically almost perfect. I mean, it's almost, I was like zero flow out, zero this, zero. You know, it was just like incredible. I mean, just almost perfect. So that was in December. So in January, I knew I wasn't going to be able to match what I did in December, because I knew I had a couple drop calls. I got caught in the kitchen doing something one time and didn't make it back, or, you know, I was doing this or doing that and didn't quite punch in on time or something like that. You know, I'm talking about a minute late. We're talking about minutes, a minute, not even minutes, a minute outside of the time I was supposed to, you know, from start to available, blah, blah, blah. So I knew the January numbers, it would be a lot to ask for the January numbers to match the December numbers, you know, but I was hopeful. So we get the one pager. I look at the one pager. I look at my external metrics that I call them, whatever, talking about, you know, the email flow, you know, flow outs, all that. The numbers were good. I was like, ooh. Start to develop, they were like really good. I was like, okay. And what happens is you click on the attachment PDF, and then you see your final score. And also in that email with the attachment of the PDF is a list of everybody's scores. Anonymous list of everybody's scores. So you can see in one column, the cup badge, another column, the gold badge, silver, bronze, and then needs improvement. So I get that, and when I get that email, you know, I'm like, okay. Sometimes I don't open it right away. I try to open it up, you know, at the right time, and, you know, give myself some space, and just in case. So I got the January one, and I was looking at it. No, I take that back. You don't see the metrics. You don't see anything until you open up the PDF. You don't see anything until you open up the PDF. You just see a generic page that everybody sees. Everybody sees the same thing. You don't see anything related to your performance in the email. As soon as you open the PDF, boom, first thing you see is that number. I opened up my January stat, it says 73. December was 93. There was a few months, like I said, when my external metrics, or whatever we want to call them, weren't up to par. I was dropping calls and all that. So I had gotten some 73s and some 78s. No, I don't think I got a 73. I'm a look, but I had a meeting today. That's why I'm making this. I had a meeting today with the supervisor because I was like, well, can you tell me why I got an 86% on my QA? Because, I'm used to 100 or a 90. And I was like, what could I have done to get an 86 on my QA? And I was joking with her. I was like, I could have shot somebody on the middle of Fifth Avenue and still, got her at 86. Her political stance, she understood what that was, and she laughed and she said, I made a joke. I was being sarcastic. But anyway, we went through the process because the process changed a little bit. So, and I had got an email saying that my QA was 100%, like a week or so earlier. A couple weeks earlier, I had got an email from one of the level 2s who does the actual QA that my QA was, 100%. I was like, okay. And then to turn around and get the official one-pager thing and to see it at 86%. I was emotional. And I told my supervisor, it hit me. I went through something. I had a thing. I definitely had a thing about it. And it kind of, I wouldn't say depressed me, but it did bring me down. That and the fact that I'm having trouble getting this weight off or keeping my eating. I can't even say getting this weight off. It's the eating. I'm like, well, maybe I'm depressed. Maybe I'm depressed. Not like, oh, I'm gonna kill myself or, psychologically depressed. Maybe I'm just physically depressed. I've said that before, because I'm not vibrating at the level that, that I'm used to. A higher frequency vibration. Zoom, 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 zoom. So I'm talking to the supervisor and she said, no, your QA score comes separately now. I was like, oh, okay. And by the time me and her finally sat down and had this conversation, because she was out for a few days, so I had to wait to actually have this conversation, because believe me, as soon as it hit, I'd have been. As soon as it hit, hey, they win. They rollerblading, he pushing a stroller. They was going fast. They was going fast. I don't know if you saw that, but they was rollerblading, they was going fast. And so, I was feeling some kind of way, and if she'd have been there, I'd have been like, hey, we need to address this right now. But she wasn't. And on top of that, it was weird not seeing her there. She's just one of those kind of people who are like always there. So for her not to have been there was a thing. And I recognized that as a thing, and it kind of put my little thing in perspective. Like, oh, I hope she's okay. So by the time I got to it today, it's Monday. I think I got it Thursday or Wednesday or whenever. Thursday, Friday, she was off. I was off the weekend. So by the time I got to it, I had already kind of accepted, if you could say that. I had already kind of accepted the fact that, you made a blunder, and what you're gonna have to do is, I'm just turning around here, the thing didn't go off, because that's usually how far I walk. I don't know why the timer didn't go off, but it should. Let me see. Can I see why the timer didn't go off? Oh, now it just went off. Timer just went on. Here, timer just went off. And see, I got it down to a science, down to a point I know when I'm supposed to turn around. Don't even really need the timer, but I just run it anyway, because we got to be back. Our new chrono system, our new time clock system, you got to punch in exactly right, or it's just to screw up your time card. So it's like crucial that I get back and punch in exactly 30 minutes. And if you look at my time card, 30 minute intervals, boom, 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 boom. I think one week, one day out of the last 2-week period, I was a minute late one time. So I just stayed a minute later. Something like that, you know. But, so I'm talking to her, I really was pretty much, accepting of the fact that, well, look, you got the external metrics down. You probably made a mistake on a call, being all Jeffery, talking too much, doing this or doing that and missing something, going too fast, trying to be superhero. You probably made a mistake. Because when I told my supervisor, I was like, this might be the first mistake ever. Since I've been here, this place is like usually flawless. This place is almost like a mistake-free. I mean, this is so professional. I mean, they don't even make mistakes. And when they do, they correct them to the point that, it makes you humble. So I was like, well, how do I find out if I got, how come I didn't get 100%? What did I get dinged on? And she was like, all right, pull up the email from blah, blah, blah. I was like, yeah, I got the email. I didn't know it was official. And I knew it had already said 100%. I was like, oh, okay. And so I showed her because I was waiting. And this is like, I was telling her about the whole conspiracy thing. I was like, how humans are. It's the first time we went to this new system, then all of a sudden, I can't see my QA, and I dropped down to 86. They're just trying to level the playing field. All that went through my mind. They're just trying to level the playing field. They're trying to make everybody get a trophy. They're trying to knock me down so other people can be in the spotlight. All that goes through my head to a subtle degree, and it got in there just a little bit, enough to make it enjoyable, to apply just enough stress, to make it enjoyable, and to make it an experience. Let's just say that, to make it a real experience. So we're talking, she said, pull it up. And I pulled it up. I said, is this it? She said, yeah. And she said, oh. And I didn't say anything. She said, wow. And she went, wow. And I didn't say anything. I didn't, do my end zone dance and get all excited. I remained calm. She said, oh, somebody made a mistake. And that's when I started, okay. That's when I started, getting, So instead of having an 86%, I was supposed to have 100. And I went from being ranked like 15th or 16th out of our group to number 1 by a substantial margin, by 4 percentage points, again. And it was humbling. As competitive as I am, and as ruthless as I think I can be, it was truly humbling. It was really, really humbling to be back in that chair, to be back on top. I was feeling some kind of way about my ability. I was feeling some kind of way about how Jeffery does things, how Jeffery, with Jeffery, this Jeffery, how I operate, how I carry myself, the standard that I set, et cetera, et cetera. So I was definitely feeling some kind of way about that. And then I was humbled. I really was humbled. It wasn't no banging on my chest or Elmo Wright Enzo dance, no Billy White shoes, touchdown celebration. It was internal. It was there, but it really wasn't, it wasn't, you damn right. It wasn't that. I was more humble that, this place, this job, I'm just so grateful for it. I just have so much respect for it. I just feel so appreciative of it to be here. to be a part of it, that maintaining the work performances that I have been maintaining is easy. I mean, there's a motivation for it. I don't know if it's easy. It's easy for me, but there's a motivation for it. There is a motivation to do that. It keeps me doing it month after month. Like Tom Brady, Michael Jordan style. Just go after it. Just go after it. Like I said, I was getting those gold badges and not platinum cup. Platinum cup is the top. I was getting those gold badges. That wasn't good enough for me. And a couple of them, I had 79. I had 79, 80 was the platinum. I had 79 like 2 months. 2 months in a row, I had 79. Kept me out of the platinum. And that just kind of pissed me off. So I just turned it up. I said, all right, y'all want to mess with Jeffery? Watch what Jeffery can do. And that's in December, when I had almost them damn near perfect numbers. January, damn near perfect numbers. QA 100. The QA is gonna be 100 because I just know what I'm doing. You know, there's certain things I do and not do. It's just built into the standard. It's just part of my makeup, my subconscious. I would have to like almost break my philosophy or the way I think or my DNA makeup for me to mess up DNA. I mean, not DNA, mess up. I saw somebody making a turn, and I got kind of, you see me get distracted? He's making a U-turn. I thought, you gonna stop over that turn? I made a U-turn. You know, to break that QA, because the standard is the standard. So we had our meeting today. She got back, you know, talked to her while she, you know, had missed a couple of days, and it's good to hear she was doing okay. You know, because like I said, for her to miss a couple of days was shocking. And she said, oh, I made a mistake. And they went ahead and adjusted it. And before she adjusted it, you know, it was the point where she said, oh, they made a mistake. And she ran the numbers again. It was the point where, you know, I'm just waiting on what that number is. And so when she told me what that number was, I already knew where it ranked. I'm on this stuff. I knew the numbers that were out there. I knew, you know, where that 95 was gonna put me. I just knew. I was like, I was humbled. I really was humble. I really, really humbled. I still am. I really still am. You know, it's not like, oh, bang on my chest, oh, look at me, ah. For this, I have so much respect for the job and the position and my coworkers that I just don't, you know, I'm not feeling that kind of energy. But it's good. It's really good. It's super good. It's tremendously good to be back on top, where I wasn't for a while. To be back on top. And she said in the list, the rankings, the anonymous rankings that go out, you know, had me at like number 15 or 16 or something like that. And I really wasn't worried about having that sent out again. You know, I really wasn't worried about having it sent again. But she said somebody else's number needed to be adjusted. I said, well, since there's two of us now, maybe you want to send it back out to the rest, you know, the analysts. Let them know this was changed. Because I also told her there are a lot of people that I talk to in our group don't even know what this is. They don't even pay attention to it. A lot of people don't know what it is. They don't pay attention to it, or they act like they don't. You know, it's almost like they're embarrassed to be competitive. And they say, oh, what is that? What do you mean the cut badge? What do you mean the gold badge? What? And people are like, well, I don't care about it. They don't care about that. You know, a lot of people I talk to, and it's in the political climate, at the job I work, like ultra liberal, you know, social justice warriors kind of, I get the feel of that. And let me just put it that way. Let me just say it feels that way to be, you know, as non-committing to it as possible. You know, they're just like that. They just, you know, oh, everybody gets a trophy. I'm here to win it, and to win it every goddamn time. My days of throwing it in your face and I'm winning it are probably behind me. The days of, spiking the ball and banging on my chest, maybe behind me. Well, at least on that, not on every touchdown. There's gonna be significant achievements that I'm gonna make when I'm gonna do that, I'm sure. But it was good. It was good to go through that, pull that up. And when she said, yeah, you should have got your QA report, a week or so ago. And I knew what it was because I knew who sent it to me and I had saw it. And that's why I knew I had 100. So when I saw that 86, and this is a new system, so there's nothing tying those two together. I didn't have official clarification that those two numbers should be tied together because this is a new month, a whole different way of doing it. So my name is Jeffery Scott Mitchell. This is the person who I always wanted to be. Plain and simple. This is the person that I always wanted to be. That guy. This guy. And I say all this talking, do all this, and granddaughter and daughter, I go pick them up. Granddaughter coming. That's gonna be fun. Granddaughter coming. In fact, there goes somebody texting now, my daughter texting now. Granddaughter be here tonight. Hang out with my mother, pick up my niece, and we all just roll out. Come here. Hopefully not eat too much, but I think we already know how that's gonna go. Anyhow, my name is Jeffery.